Our shit done. Boo, 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 boo. Come on. Oh.
The Incredibles is one of Pixar's best movies, and luckily a third film in the franchise has already been announced. But did you know it will probably have a very different vibe compared to the two previous movies? After all, both The Incredibles and the 2018 sequel were directed by Brad Bird, who is also the creator of the saga. That won't be the case in the third adventure of the Parr family, because the director of the movie will be Peter Sohn, who directed Elemental and The Good Dinosaur, two other Pixar productions. On top of that, Peter also worked on several of the studio's classics, like Finding Nemo, Wall-E, Ratatouille, and even The Incredibles back in 2004.
Look, I'm like, oh, he worked on the other one. Okay. Alright, I was gonna say, I don't like how we just throwing randoms on here, but you know, it's cool.
The reason is that Brad Bird will be busy directing Ray Gun, a Skydance movie that will be streaming on Netflix.
He's tripping.
This is a movie Bird has been trying to get off the ground for years, so it's understandable that he chose to direct it instead of Incredibles 3. However, he will still be the screenwriter for this sequel, which...
Okay, we green. You know, I be getting mad and shit before we ever get the answers, because that shit just pissed me off. But
which means the chances of it being as good as the first film, or maybe even better, are pretty...
If you're a producer who hates AI, this plugin might change your mind. This is Reimagine Co-Producer. You can take any...
high. If you thought that was incredible, wait, because you haven't seen anything yet. We're about to tell you everything we know about Incredibles 3, so get on board with us. Another Cinewave is starting right now! It still hasn't been confirmed who the next villain the Parr family will have to face is, but many fans believe he was already revealed in the extra scenes of the first movie. We're talking about Gamma Jack, one of the
Is Gamma Jack coming back? Are we getting Jack Gamma Jack? I don't even know about that. Tap in with my other video if you don't know about that. But let me find out.
Superheroes from the Incredibles universe who has recently started drawing a lot of attention online for having a pretty questionable personality. He's even compared to Homelander, the evil Superman from The Boys. The extra scenes of the first Incredibles shows interviews with superheroes who used to protect the world before vigilantes were banned, with some data on them compiled by the National Supers Agency. Gamma Jack is described as an arrogant hero who believed in the supremacy of superhumans. In other
Are they telling us we could get a Malcolm X Gamma Jack, basically? Or a... Oh, that's hard. What if that's the plot? Because you know how this whole time they've been trying to bring back superheroes? What if we just have a nigga that's like they just got cuz, like, he really trying to bring them back, like, no matter what the cost, he just gonna wipe out the human population. Like, he's literally Magneto the whole time. Because you know Magneto really like Malcolm X, okay? Both extremists. And that's why Professor X to Magneto is Martin Luther King. You feel what I'm saying? So, but I don't know if I would give my nigga Mr. Incredible Martin Luther King. But we gonna see.
In other words, he thought that those with superpowers should rule over ordinary humans, which is not a heroic mindset at all. As if that weren't enough, he also says in an audio recording that he had a priority list when it came to saving people. He always saved the pretty women first and left the others for last. Can you believe that?
I see if there's any good
I would have saved Mirage first too.
looking women who need to be rescued immediately.
On top of all that, Gamma Jack was extremely powerful. Out of all the heroes who were on Syndrome's threat list, he was the second biggest threat, right behind Mr. Incredible. That's because Gamma Jack's power was creating radiation-based explosions capable of causing anything from burns to complete disintegration. The guy could wipe out anyone with a single attack. That's dangerous, especially since he had that supervillain type personality. That's why the National Supers Agency constantly kept him under surveillance to stop him from turning into a villain. In the end, he was eliminated along with several other superheroes by Syndrome's robots. At least, that's what they want us to believe. The National Supers Agency's file stated that Gamma Jack, besides being powerful, was also very intelligent. So, did he really fail to fake his own death and hide away all those years? After all, Syndrome also thought Mr. Incredible had been eliminated until he came back into action. So, it's very possible that Gamma Jack will return as the antagonist of Incredibles 3, wanting revenge on humanity after they spent years resenting superheroes. Even if that wasn't Brad Bird's original plan, he could still change the movie's script, which probably hasn't even been finalized yet, now that the internet has discovered Gamma Jack. This wouldn't be the first time something like that happened, since Brad Bird himself said that Syndrome, the villain of the first movie, and Screenslaver, the villain of the second, were created pretty late, after many different versions of the scripts for those films had already been written. Another thing that many fans, like a lot of them,
See, look, we get a time jump, it's over. Frozone gonna have them kids, you know what I'm saying? He gonna have them peoples with him. You feel me? And Frozone got them peoples with him. It's gonna be on site for everybody. First black superhero family on site. They just jumping niggas. I'm already knowing. Can't be fucked with.
believe will happen in this movie is a time jump. Many already thought it would happen in the second movie, especially since it took 14 years to come out, and the kids who saw the first one in 2004 had already grown into adults. But that didn't happen, and the story picked up exactly where the first movie had ended. While
Which I really liked, by the way.
the idea sounded interesting, the truth is that very few fans liked it.
I don't know why niggas is tripping. I like how it just was like, boom, on to the next one. Like, we never stopped. I was like, this is how y'all supposed to do a goddamn movie.
The fact that Incredibles 2 faced criticism for being too similar to the first didn't help either. So it makes sense to think that the new production will finally give fans what they
Bro, niggas is tripping, bro. They literally took the first movie and then flipped the script the second movie. Like, and gave, like, that was hard, bro. Having Elastigirl out here handling the missions and my nigga Bob at home, like, bro, that was some tough shit, bro. Niggas is tripping. Just haters.
want, following a path similar to Inside Out, where the characters grow older as the movies go on. In this case, we could see Violet heading off to college, Ash becoming a teenager, and Jack being a child around 5 years old. If you also support this idea, drop a comment below with hashtag Incredible. If a time jump really happens, it only makes sense to think that Mr. Incredible and Elastigirl's kids will take center stage in this new adventure. After all, we'll need more scenes with them to see how the three of them are doing in this new phase of their lives and what their new family dynamic will look like. For example, will Dash still be a little disobedient, or will he turn out more responsible? And what will Jack's personality be like now that he's no longer a little baby? Incredibles 3 definitely needs to answer these questions. Even if this movie doesn't take place years after the second part of the saga, it's still very likely that the main focus will be the kids, or at least one of them, because doing so would follow a formula the other movies have already planted. The first Incredibles was centered on Mr. Incredible, the second shifted the spotlight to Elastigirl, and the third really needs to focus on one of the kids. Assuming it will just be one of the kids who gets the title of main character, who do you think it'll be? The truth is, all three of them have a lot to bring to the table. After the release of Incredibles 2, Brad Bird dropped an important hint about what could happen in the next adventure with this superhero team. The filmmaker said he had to cut several storylines from the second movie because they didn't match what he wanted to do at the time, but he made it clear that those abandoned ideas could be reused in Incredibles 3. He already briefly mentioned one of those ideas, the one that actually got Pixar to greenlight the second movie. Apparently, the story would have involved an artificial intelligence, but Bird didn't want to go into detail. It's very likely that he intended for the villain to be a robot that would eventually gain self-awareness and start doing terrible things.
They finna have Ultron. Nigga, Incredibles 3 Age of Ultron. That shit finna be hard.
Things like exterminating superheroes or trying to take over humanity. Something
I just be calling shit and then it just be popping up in the videos because I'm just so like adept. You know what I'm saying?
similar to Marvel's Ultron. Who knows, maybe it was Syndrome's final invention, created before he kicked the bucket. Either way, this idea could easily be carried over into the third movie and would connect even more with today's world, since we're living in the age of AIs generating text and images. And if the AI storyline really is reused, this would be the perfect chance for the movie to bring back one of Pixar's most memorable villains, Syndrome. No doubt all the fans would go crazy, especially since the end of the first movie showed him meeting his end. But we're talking about a superhero movie that loves to make references to the genre. Something that happens a lot in superhero comics is characters coming back to life or revealing they weren't really dead. One of those two things could totally happen with Syndrome. We're leaning more toward the second option, where the team discovers that Syndrome, being as clever as he is, faked his death to hide away and cook up a new plan, which would be using a superpowered AI to take revenge on the Incredibles. Another possibility is that instead of Syndrome surviving, he really did die in the final battle of the first movie.
And he saved his brain. Like that one nigga from DC. You know what I'm saying? Nigga just brain nigga. It's a good theory.
But before that, he would have created that evil AI and turned it into a copy of his own consciousness. So the antagonist would basically be a robot version of Syndrome. Can you imagine? Gamma Jack syndrome, a robot syndrome? Incredibles 3 has a lot of potential antagonists, but there's another possibility that's been right in front of us since the very first movie. The National Supers Agency, also known as the NSA.
Bro, they have so many. They could go to 5 if they want to. I ain't gonna lie. They can make 5 movies.
This government organization has been monitoring superheroes all along, and their agents even erase the memories of people who find out about the heroes' secret identities. But what if the agency's goal isn't just to protect those who saved the world, but to control them? Some fans even theorize that it was the government that actually gave powers to the superheroes in this universe, since it's never revealed how they got these special abilities, something that usually gets explained in Marvel and DC movies, where each character has their own origin story. One big sign that the NSA isn't as nice as we might think is in a deleted scene from Incredibles 2, where Mr. Incredible and Elastigirl go visit the babysitter who used to take care of Jack. She had her memory wiped by the agency's agents after she discovered the baby's powers, but it didn't stop there. The scene would have shown that she started acting robotic after the brainwashing, as if the process had left her mind with severe side effects. That's extremely dark, and maybe that's why the scene was cut from the movie, or could it be because Bird wanted to save it for The Incredibles 3, where the Parr family would expose the NSA and take them on?
I also think another good thing about making movies like now is like if that was too dark back then, they could use it now. You know what I'm saying? They not gonna trip on some shit like that nowadays. You feel me? Back then, it was a problem.
So how about dropping your opinion in the comments and taking the chance to subscribe to the channel? We're always posting videos about your favorite cartoons. Wow! With the movie taking this path of making the NSA the villain, it makes total sense to think that Jack will be the character getting the most spotlight, since he could easily become the NSA's target. They've been cataloging superhumans for years and most likely studying their abilities. Now, just imagine a child who has countless powers and can pretty much do anything. That could definitely be a reason for the NSA to try to kidnap the little boy.
Or he might grow into his powers. You know what I'm saying? We never know, and he might lose some. I'll be mad if that happens. I ain't gonna lie.
In order to study his abilities, and maybe even replicate them to create another superhuman just as powerful. In fact, you can totally picture the organization pulling that off. The problem is, this artificial superhuman with Jack's powers would probably lose control and end up becoming the movie's biggest threat. Believe it or not, that robot idea wasn't the only one that got scrapped from Incredibles 2. Another storyline Brad Bird cut from the movie actually involved the world of show business, shows, TV programs, theater, and so on. And knowing the style of The Incredibles, that could mean the movie would feature a television program run by a villain. Well, considering the saga's movies are heavily inspired by comic book storytelling, this would be another wild plotline that would fit perfectly in a third film and could easily be pulled from the creator's list of ideas. We've left 2 awesome videos right here on your screen so the fun can keep going. Thanks for watching, and see you next time!
So, what we learned from here is that, all right, I'm not even gonna do that. I'm gonna give my take. I don't think Gamma Jack is gonna come back. I'm gonna be honest. Just cause we like Gamma Jack and shit. Like me, if I was that nigga, I'd be a fuck nigga. Like fuck niggas.
She say you so true, baby girl. I already know. How did this shit when I'm on? It damage what I know. Mixing the drink, make a potion. It might just put me on the floor. Mixing the drink with Patron. Can't do this shit on my own. Looking to change my tone. What you gonna do when I leave and I'm gone? I do this shit with intention. Put on that beat, get to flex.